We talked about weight a little bit the other day. In one of the previous videos, I had mentioned a little bit about the way I just felt like I needed to go there, and I thought it was really fascinating because I've been doing some sessions on myself. I've recognized since late fall I've been stuck. I've been on this plateau, and I had mentioned in the video that I recognized that I really needed to keep my focus on feeling grateful for being where I was, because 20 pounds earlier I was wishing I could be where I am. And so I've been really focusing on and having that gratitude for being where I am right now. And and I've been doing a better job of that last couple of weeks. And I was working on some sessions on myself, and interestingly enough, I've not even been doing it on the weight release. My sessions have actually been more centered around finances and having my own income, and a lot of stuff has been coming up from that. Well, the part I want to share with you is I find it interesting how certain things can come at random times, because I've stopped focusing on my weight and wondering, why am I still stuck? Why have I still plateaued? I've been able to feel it in my body, and that if I can teach you anything, it's to really tune in to the feelings that you're having in your body. So I felt this for a long time. I don't believe I've mentioned this, but when I started on this journey, I started really releasing the weight really quickly, and I wasn't doing anything. I wasn't dieting. I don't diet. I don't believe in diets anymore. That's not what it's about. And I've not been, doing anything other than my normal daily, I'm moving about my life. I'm not a sedentary person for the most part. And so the weight just started to release as I was working on and healing some of my emotional issues. And I had this really exciting thought back September-ish, I think. And I was like, man, at this rate, by the time I'm at my birthday next year, so of this year, because it was last year, so it's like by the time I'm having my next birthday, I will easily have reached whatever my ideal weight is for me. And it got really exciting, and it was interesting because the thought actually came to me that really took me by surprise and really made me panic. It's like, actually, if you keep this up, you'll be your ideal weight by Christmas. And it freaked me out. I am not even kidding. Emotionally, I felt the brakes just get slammed on. I was like, it really brought some stuff up, and it was interesting because I did some sessions on myself. I was trying to tune into it. It's like, okay, well, what's this fear about? And there were some things that I was able to clear and heal, and it was good, but it's not really. I've stayed with those brakes on. I've stayed stuck, and I've noticed and I recognize it's like, it's almost like I don't feel safe. It's like it doesn't feel safe to be releasing weight. And so I recognized that the other day, a couple of days ago. I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm recognizing that it's not that. And so it was like, it's okay. It doesn't need to feel safe. I am going to love and appreciate where I am right now. And when the time is right, I'm going to feel it, and I will be able to turn my attention back to it and work on it and not worry about it. So I just, put it aside, and I've been really just working on loving and accepting exactly where I am right now, because I'm really appreciating where I am right now. Last night as I was going to bed, I was almost asleep, and something had come up in my finances before I went to bed, with things that were keeping me stuck in my finances. And as I went to bed, I had this epiphany, and it was like a bright light, and I almost wanted to get up and work on it, but I was like, no, I need to go to bed. I will remember tomorrow, because this is so big. That when I was a nightmare mom, from the time my son was about 3.5 until 5-6 years ago, I was really emotionally a wreck, and I made life hard on him. And it wasn't all the time, but when I was triggered really big. And when things were good, it was great. But it was very unpredictable, and it was very traumatic for him. At least I'm imagining it was traumatic for him based on his reactions, and we've done a lot of healing. But I realized last night as I was going to bed, the last time I was at the weight where I'm at right now was before I had done my emotional healing. And it's brought up this, it's not safe to be that weight, because I was this other person the last time I was that weight. And I let myself sit in that and recognize and reaffirmed to myself that I'm not that person anymore. I have done so much healing. I am a completely different woman now, for which I am incredibly grateful for. But you never know the things that are associated with the resistance that your body has to being a certain weight when you're working at becoming your ideal weight for your body, for your who you are. And I thought, wow, that was really big. And so I just allowed myself to sit in that and to feel that fear a little bit and where it was at. And it did not take very long, and it really just melted. And so if you are struggling to release weight, and whether it's you're working at it through releasing the emotional things, even if you're doing, hardcore exercise and diet because that's what feels right for you, I'm not going to judge anybody's experience. If you're finding that you're at a plateau, I want you to consider the emotional things or any traumatic things, anything that was going on when you were once upon a time that weight, that you are, not being able to move through, that you're stuck right outside of that weight area. So I just wanted to share that. I wasn't actually even going to plan on getting on today, but it was so poignant last night when I was experiencing it. And I know that weight is a really big deal for a lot of people, especially when it comes to our perception of self and our ability to love ourselves, which interestingly enough, I'm telling you right now, you will struggle with your weight until you learn how to love yourself and love and accept yourself for who you are on the inside. Our physical experience is a match for our inside experience, for our what's going on within. And so if you aren't accepting yourself on the inside, a lot of times weight is being a protection for you on the outside. So thought I would pass along that tip for you. I'm excited because I mean, it's interesting because I felt, about 2-3 weeks ago that, things were going to start moving. I'd done some really good work on, just, okay, as soon as I let myself just, really appreciate where I'm at, it's going to start budging again. But then, getting a little impatient, and I finally just shut it down. It's like, no, I'm just going to appreciate where I'm at. And then last night, you know what that is. It's like there's just this knowing. It's like, okay, this is done and it's going to move. And so, and which was the other thing, is I was like, well, what if I get on and I tell everybody, and then I still on this plateau. And you know what? If that's what happens, that's what happens. But I know that that's a huge thing for me right now, is recognizing that plateau is very much associated with fear, not fear now, but the fear I had then, because I was such a mess. And that recognition, I call it sensory and environmental memory. It's kind of like that, where the things that were going on in my life, my body remembers that. So my subconscious has this thing where, you know what, it's not safe to experience this again because of the last time it was like this. And so, and that's been that way for a lot of things for me. I know that that's what's kept me from having more children, is because I've had so much fear around not wanting to repeat for another child, how that experience went for my son, and not having in the past been in a place where I could feel like that was a safe thing. And it's interesting because I don't know that I would ever have more kids, because 45, I don't even, it's like some days that feels young, other days that feels old, and it's so weird. And And yet at the same time I recognize, well, you know, that could still happen, but then there's other times where I recognize, like, you know what, it doesn't mean it would happen, but I know that I'm this different person than I used to be, and that it would be a completely different experience. So anyway, that's like taking a total tangent. Maybe somebody needed to hear that. I don't know. All right, I love you guys. I will probably see you either tomorrow or Wednesday. I haven't decided yet. Kind of get my head wrapped around. I'm feeling like I need to organize my thoughts more instead of being maybe so sporadic. Maybe dedicate specific days to certain things or something. I don't know. Right now I feel like I'm just kind of like trusting and just like throwing out randomly, which would fit actually because I'm quite random actually in nature. But I'm just kind of like throwing out random things as they come up and as I'm wanting to share them. And so maybe that's helpful for you. Maybe it's not. I don't know. But I love you, and I hope you have a fantastic night. And I will see you later this week, whenever that ends up being.